Hello, this video is just to help you discover some of the great features of the databases that we subscribe to through the school, as well as how to help you set up a Works Cited page, all that. There are a lot of benefits for using the databases, so I highly recommend you start there. Many of you will be able to finish there. You won't need to go to a basic Google search, anything like that. There's nothing wrong with a Google search, but it's going to put more work on you to ensure that they're reliable, valid sources and not something that is going to hurt your grade on the paper and presentation because it's not reliable and not real, that type of thing. So if you go to the library page from the school, you go to the school website, just click on library, it brings you here. I'm going to recommend a couple things. You'll see I'm going to give you a couple ways of doing the Works Cited page. One, I just have a blank document set up here. It's formatted Times New Roman, 12 point, double spaced. This will be the less than ideal way. There's another way that if you do not have an EasyBib account, I would recommend signing up for one. I've already set this up for a folder that will be in EasyBib, titled it for this year's protest project. If you have EasyBib open with that project open, your life's going to be a lot easier when you do your research. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a bit. So the most useful databases here, ProQuest is definitely one. I'll just start here. I've already typed in abortion. Since I know you can't do that, that's what I'm going to search. I always recommend narrowing it down, first of all, to full text. It has to be full text. Otherwise, you can't really quote something from an abstract because that's just a summary. It's not the actual text of the article. I would limit it to the last 5 or 10 years. Let's just go with 5 years. You'll see there are going to be many articles from which to choose. You want to narrow that down, and they've got to be pretty recent anyway. You can narrow this down. I'll just narrow this down to newspapers for now, maybe keep it a little bit local. So you kind of look through this, see what might be interesting. How the Satanic Temple is. You had me at Satanic Temple, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that because it seems interesting. If I look through this, realize this is actually going to be a good source for me. I can do a few different things. The easiest one that I have found is you can just save it as a PDF and it'll get this request and then you'll get to pick where you save it. So once that opens, you'll see I've already in my OneDrive, I've set up a folder for Protest Project. So I would probably rename this as well, but for all sakes and purposes here, I'll just do that. So I'll eventually get back to that. But going back to the article, I now have that saved. In a folder, I can go back to it. It's downloaded as a PDF. I can access it at any time. There are other options as well. You can click on this and just immediately export it to a folder in Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. My OneDrive doesn't sign in very well at home, so I'm just doing this the other way. I think it's easier just to save it as a PDF the way I did as well. One other thing you're going to need to do, if it's something you use, you're going to need the Works Cited information. So click on Cite up here. Then there are two ways to do this. One, make sure you have MLA 8th edition. This is the citation. You can copy it and then open up your Word document here. Right click and then make sure you click Merge Formatting. That's going to keep it the way it should be. For some reason it brings that with it. So now I have this here. So I'm going to come back to this. The other option, which I'd say is a better option, is to click Export it to EasyBib. Remember, I have that project open in my EasyBib account. Just click Continue. Takes a little bit of time here. Okay, click Import without abstracts. So now this is still my protest project 2122. I now have this in that folder, so to speak. It's called a project, so this is in my project. Keep that in mind because we're going to come back to that. So you could go through other articles with ProQuest. You could find a bunch of them. You can save them. If you're going to save them and you're going to use them, then make sure that you save that Works Cited information. Another great series of websites is the Gale Cengage. So Opposing Viewpoints in Context is likely going to be the most useful for many of you. This has a lot of issues that are relevant. They're hot topics in the US, worldwide. You'll notice this layout for Opposing Viewpoints in Context, Science in Context. If you pick a very scientific thing, if it's something to do with, climate change or electric cars, whatever it might be. Science might be useful. You'll see it's the exact same layout. Everything's going to work the same way as it does with with opposing viewpoints. Same with global issues and context. If you're doing a worldwide event, global issues or a worldwide topic, global issues and context is likely a little bit better. It goes outside of the US more. But I'm going to go back to opposing viewpoints and context. I'm going to search abortion again. This will give me ways to narrow down here again. I think I'll just stick with news, since I did newspapers before. I like opposing viewpoints as well because you can narrow things down a little bit more. So I'm going to go with the publication date and again, kind of do it maybe from the last 5 years or so. Let's just do 2016 to, we'll just say mid last week and apply that. So that's going to go from 17,000 down to 5,000. So now there are much more, kind of doable ones here, or like, I guess just a number it's easier to deal with. So I'm going to just click on this first one, women who marched for abortion before that. You can narrow it down here with related subjects and look at other things. There are others that are going to be similar to this, so you can use that. It's very similar to ProQuest. You can download up here. You can also just clearly or quickly export it to OneDrive or Google Drive. It's also a download icon here. I'm just going to download this because it looks interesting. I'm in my same folder in OneDrive. Again, I would rename it, but I'm just doing this for show. Again, I feel like I'm going to be using this, so I'm going to cite it. It's a similar thing. Make sure it's MLA 9th. So then I can export it. I can also select it and copy it. And then again, I have this here, so I can just go down to the next line, merge the formatting, and paste it there. We'll come back to this. But I would, again, just say export it to EasyBib. Again, I still have that project open. So once it gets there, I'll sometimes have to finalize and click complete citation. Sometimes you might have to watch an ad as well. But now I have both of these in my project there. So I'm going to go back to this article and then just go back here, see if there are other ones. Legal battles. We'll see what this one has. It's from the Washington Post, might be interesting. Again, we got related subjects over here. We have other things that are like this. You got the full article. Once again, I'm going to download it. You'll see those are the other two I have. Now I have this one as well. Once again, I'm going to cite it. I can copy it and just manually put it in the Works Cited here. Or, as I've been doing, and again, as I recommend, oops, never mind that, just export it to EasyBib. All right, and just finalize, complete this citation. Now I have all three of the ones I have saved there. So if you look at this, this is a perfectly valid Works Cited list here, although you always want to remove the hyperlinks. This needs work. It's not alphabetized. You're going to have to alphabetize it. If you notice, the capitalization is close to being correct in this one. Against wouldn't be capitalized. This one is way off. This one is way off. You would need to fix the capitalization. You would need to fix the ordering, all of that. However, if I go back to EasyBib, this is that project, and I click Export All to a Word document, and then Export. This is going to, and I'm going to go to that same folder, so it's going to be a different file, but it's in that same folder. When I open up the document it creates, you're going to see a fully correctly formatted Works Cited page. It has alphabetized things for me. It has correctly capitalized all the words in the title. See, it even changed that against that was wrong. It has all of this that needs to be capitalized is capitalized. It creates a perfectly formatted Works Cited page for you. So if you find everything in your databases or all your work in the databases, and even if you find other things, you can often just go, if you go to this thing, you can cite a website, as long as you have that project open still. If you paste a URL in here, it'll often give you most of the citation. You might need to add a couple things here and there, but overall it'll have what you need and you'll be in good shape. So you'll have a Works Cited page that this first one, there's work that needs to be done. The one it creates is perfect. So you have your Works Cited page. If you go to that file in the OneDrive, you have that all set up and good to go as well. So you have everything that you need all there. You've downloaded things, you've got your Works Cited page. It's the easiest way to go. So that's what I recommend. Those are those useful features. Hope you use them.